Welcome, beautiful friends, to the Way of Mastery. Lesson number 6. We're wrapping up our third deepening tonight. Love heals all things. And we've just had it happen recently that our internet crowd is larger than our in-person crowd. Live, but then it gets watched on the internet lots and lots and lots of times. So welcome to all those out in consciousness, joining through the miraculous thing of the internet, which is a beautiful symbol for our one mind, huh? Because you seem to be able to access that from almost anywhere. Wow, sounds like God, doesn't it? I'm not saying Google's God. Please don't make that distinction. So I'm wearing my nose today because I went out today and played Christy with a friend. Had someone who's working on their own awakening, and we put our noses on and we went and walked around the local hospital. So that she got an opportunity to look at her fears and her judgments and beliefs around all of that health and the suffering. And it was a miraculous holy encounter after holy encounter after holy encounter. As the love that we are was met with reflection upon reflection upon reflection of thanks and gratitude. So this was the simplest practice Jeshua gave me. I was so grateful. It's cheap too, by the way. I mean, it's not a long retreat. Doesn't involve travel. You can go to clownnoses.com and get these, or just clownnoses.com and get these in bulk. Because sometimes, it's not enough to just have one color, because creation's infinitely variable. But nonetheless, this puts you in a different state of consciousness. All it does is it provides you the invitation to rise out of your story. And you know what? Every time you do that, you extend that invitation to everybody else. That's the ground of the miraculous. Cool. So anyway, wear noses, don't wear noses, but it's a simple technique. You can imagine them if nothing else. You know what it's like to walk around the hospital and know that everybody in there is wearing a clown's nose divinely, and they're playing out their story, but their truth remains radiantly truth and pure and unsick. That's cool. It's nice to be the one walking around that knows that. Get it? Knows it. Okay, here we go tonight with the Way of Mastery. Oh, real quick, we have one beautiful new person here tonight. Two beautiful new people. Our friend Jen, who sang at our retreat. It's wonderful to have you here, and nice to have you join us today. We're looking forward to hearing Jen sing, and Hester, you're welcome back as frequently as you'd like or not. It's up to you. So you don't have to believe a word I say. Please don't. Those of you who have touched Way of Mastery, you already know it has spoken to the depth of your being in a way nothing else has. In a really authentic way. That's your truth. That's your inner guide. Please don't use my truth and the experiences that we share to deepen these lessons. Don't wear them like they're your experiences. Have yours authentically. So what if I share with you tonight? If you don't like it, you don't agree with it? Big deal. It's not like you're not going to get into heaven because you didn't agree with what I said. Just throw that out. Use your own thing. You have your own onboard guide, and you should always follow that. I'm only going to try and peel back layers of mind, your own mind, and show you depth here that might take you a longer time to realize without the help. So like it, don't like it. It's all up to you. Cindy, you ready?
Mm-hmm. I am created as my Father created me to be. I am free, and nothing sources my experience but me and each moment. Nothing has an effect on me whatsoever, save that which I choose to allow to affect me. I need do nothing. I do not live any ordinary moments. With each breath, my experiences are the stepping stones laid before me of God to guide me home. Therefore, I will bring awareness to each moment and allow it to teach me how to forgive, how to embrace, how to love, and therefore, how to live fully. The only relationship which holds any value at all is your relationship with God, your creative source. And the keys to the kingdom: desire, intention, allowance, and surrender.
Thank you, Cindy. Number 1 tonight, I'm going to talk about allow. This last sentence, save that which I choose to allow to affect me. We're all operating on unconscious allowances that we allow our partner or the weather or the condition of our body or the condition of our bank account or all kinds of things to destroy our peace. They never had the ability to do it, but we chose to let them do it, and then we pushed the consciousness awareness out of our conscious mind and we pushed it into our unconscious, the sleeping mind, so it seemed like we had no choice. We had no choice about those things. And then we let that unconscious decision, we allowed it to remain. So because it stayed there in our unconscious, where we gave our power away to all kinds of other beings and situations and circumstances, it continued to affect us. Only because we were unconsciously allowing it to. So it's about bringing that up into your consciousness and recognizing, well, I could only be pissed off now because I chose to be. It has nothing to do with someone who flipped me off. It has nothing to do with the fact that, I have an ingrown toenail. It has nothing to do with any of that. I'm choosing to be upset about it. So it's about re-allowing those to come up. Welcome the anger when it comes, because it's showing you where you're still operating asleep on an unconscious belief. It's a gift handed to you on a silver divine platter. Will you allow that gift to be extended to you and say, oh, I see I'm experiencing this because I chose in an old pattern and I'm allowing a same old habitual thing. I'm reacting the same way I acted in the past over and over and over. So you welcome them because now you know, oh shit, I know now. I know the finger doesn't mean get angry. It means I have a choice. Do I want to get angry or do I want to just wave and say thank you? It's your choice. But it's about allowance. And he talks about it down here in the keys to the kingdom. But whatever you're experiencing is only there because you are allowing it to be there. If it's something's there that you choose not to allow anymore, well, then you got to change the unconscious belief, which was the doorway through which those emotions and feelings and experiences came. Number 2 tonight, so far I've done every word in this one, and today I'm going to do period. Because it's all about the emphasis. I need do nothing, period. Period. Period, period, period. Need I say more? So really, you can contemplate the period, that is it. There's not situations and circumstances that depend on whether that's true or not. It's true, period. And look at all the ways in your consciousness that you want that period to be a comma. It's a period for a reason. The truth is true under all circumstances, all situations, all times, all places. If you're making that a comma, you're really allowing the ego to edit Christ's truth, which you're free to do, but you'll experience the ego's truth. You'll experience the separation, not the truth. Number 3, live fully. I thought I had an idea of what living fully meant. All I had been doing was dying fully. I'd been living in the world as though that was real. I had been living the thoughts and beliefs of the world and of my own mind, saying I was living life fully. All of that is death. I can tell you I now live fully, and it was nothing I ever conceived it could be like. Someone was talking to me on the porch. They came to sit with me, and one little thing turned this whole thing from what they thought was life, all of a sudden a new vista opened before them. And they recognized, oh my God, they're just peeking over the precipice, just blown away at the life that is out there to be lived. So living fully doesn't mean living the body-mind experience fully. It means living the divine experience fully, whether you happen to be in a body or not. It's about living I need do nothing while you're in the body, not bound up by the laws and I need do nothing after death. It's easy then. No, it's about living fully now. And number 4, the only relationship which holds, and we're going to do holds tonight. We think we're in a relationship with people this way, and we try and hold them. We try and bind them up with wedding vows, with promises, with reciprocity, with mutual commitments, with interdependency and codependency. That's what we do with egoic relationships this way. We try and hold them, which inherently limits both. I mean, you're both trapped. The holding of Christ, the holding of God's love, is that infinite embrace which is holding all of creation effortlessly. Not holding it in restriction, holding it in an eternal yes of unconditional love and unconditional freedom. So look at your own life. Where are you holding in limitation? Where are you holding in commitment? Where are you holding in a box? I invite you to the relationship which has always been held. That's the relationship with the Creator. That's the true holding. I always think it's funny. People go, I hold the space. I'd like to see that. What do you mean you hold the space? How are you doing that? Because God is already the space. Does God need the ego's effort? I'll help God hold the space. Yes. I'm holding the space. You're already being held and have eternally been held by the space. Give up this thing that you're the maker and the doer of that, and let what has always been holding you hold you eternally, and rest. 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 So you might, rather than holding the space, I'll allow the recognition that myself and everyone and everything has always been held by love. I'll be conscious of that rather than thinking you're the one holding the space. Desire, intention, allowance, and surrender. I missed this slide. I meant to have the love definition on there. Do you remember what it is, or should you want me to? Okay. So in this lesson, he defined love as love allows all things. Love accepts all things. Love trusts all things. Love embraces all things. Human love didn't teach us that at all. It taught us to watch out, not to accept all things, to defend yourself, protect yourself. It doesn't teach us to accept all things. It teaches us to push things away. It doesn't teach us to trust. We live in distrust. So much so that we preemptively lie. We're preemptively distrustful because we assume someone else is going to do it to us first. Anybody ever done that? I did, sure. And rarely do we embrace things. We embrace them if they suit us, if we like them, but we don't really embrace. But he goes on to say, therefore, love is eternally transcendent of all things. Meaning, like back to God holding the space, God's holding this room right now. We can be happy in here, or we can have an orgy, we can have a big fight. God's holding all of it and saying, yes, as you wish. When you wake up into that love and you experience that love which has always been holding us, even in our dream of separation, then you recognize, oh my gosh, the way I thought love was had nothing to do with love. It was a version of fear put in a pretty box and given with chocolates. And stuck on the bottom of the chocolates is a now you owe me list. So anyway, there we go. And by the way, at the end of the definition of love, period. Period, period, period. End of story. End of ego story for that matter. Okay, here we go. The Lord's Prayer. Just relax and enjoy.
WOM, the Boshmaya, Nita Kadash Shamar, Tete Malkuda, Neve Sivinach, Akina, the Boshmaya, O Baraha, Haulan, Lachman, Sunkanan, Yaumana, Boshwoklan, Halpin, Akina, Daphanan, Shwakin, El Hayabin. Ula talan el nisyan, el pasan membisha. Met de lachi melkuta, uheila, utish bhakta, la alam, amin, amen.
By the way, there are 3 versions of the Lord's Prayer in audio now on the One Who Wakes website. If you go into Watch, Listen, there's a section for the Aramaic Lord's Prayer. There are 3 versions there of Jeshua channeling it and the translations there. So no one has to email me anymore. Just go to the website. Ready, Cindy?
Do you awaken in the morning and realize that you've had a whole night of dreams, of receiving ribbons and trophies, and what have you from the world, and then say, "That was very real. The trophies must be sitting on my kitchen table"? When you awaken and sit up and put your feet on the ground, you go, shake my head a little. I was just dreaming. While you dreamt, it felt real enough, and that's the quality I'm speaking of here. And if you wish to take this as an affront, it's perfectly okay. It won't disturb my peace at all. Until you fully decide to come into life as the presence of Christ, as the presence of love, to own each moment of your experience as wholly self-created, for no other reason than that you have chosen it from the perfect and infinite freedom of your unlimited beingness. When you look upon all things without judgment, through the eyes of forgiveness, when you decide to embody only the reality of love, no matter what anybody else is doing, that is when life begins.
He uses this in each one of his pathways, the whole thing about the dream. I just think it's so clever that we actually put the experience of sleeping at night and dreaming within the dream so that we would say one wasn't real, but this one is. But we all know how to set a dream aside before lunch. It's not like we walk around with it trying to heal it. We don't go into regressive therapy and go to see specialists and spend decades working to heal dreams. We just let them go. Everything you ever think you've experienced in waking life is just like that. You're free to just let it go in one act of forgiveness, total and complete, or you can do it the long, long, long way. It's up to you. Both ways work. One, you just get to happy earlier. So we really don't like to say, and then he goes on to say, not only did you dream it, but you chose the dream. The dream didn't happen to you. You chose every aspect of it. Every single detail is wholly self-created. Wholly self-created. And I hear all the time, I was talking to someone today, why? 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 And he goes on to tell us, if for no other reason than you have chosen it from the perfect and infinite freedom of your unlimited beingness. Ego doesn't like that because it doesn't have any idea about unlimited beingness. And it wants a damn good reason from God why. There it is. Because we can. It's not being done to us. Just imagine yourself if you were the wealthiest person on this planet and you could do and have any experience because there was no limit to you. Wouldn't you have lots of experiences that otherwise you wouldn't have? Well, we're unlimited and we chose to have an experience just because we can. In the same way that you might do if you were rich. You can understand that desire. Well, why not? We got the money, we could just rent a thing and go have a cruise. Well, why not? I mean, when Marion thought this whole tiny mad idea up, we all looked at her and said, yeah, why not? So thanks. You hooked us all up. But we don't like that. We resist it, we resist it, we resist it, we resist it. We want to blame God. Why did you create us free? Look what I did with my freedom. I don't want my freedom. I mean, the ego says that kind of stuff. Wow, you don't want your freedom. So if you made a mess of your freedom, you made a mess of your consciousness, you created things you didn't want to experience, it took a whole lot of power to do that. It took a whole lot of freedom to do that. Don't fear it. Just divert that power now to love, as he says. And then look upon all things without judgment through the eyes of forgiveness. And when you decide to embody only the reality of love, when you decide, not when he does, he's already decided. He's saying, hurry up and choose. I'll give you these pathways because you think you need them. Hurry up and choose. It is a choice. In our egoic consciousness, we have made our choices worthless. We've made our decisions not mean anything. You changed 5 times in the drive-through your idea of what you're going to have for lunch. You know what I mean? We've taken this incredible power of choice and we've relegated it to have no power at all. So we're all having a really authentic experience of having no power at all. So we're already doing it really well. It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of purpose. So this isn't about saving the world out there. When you wake up, oh my God, you're grateful because there's the heaven and all these light beings are using their infinite freedom. Why should I run in and tell them they're doing it wrong? That they shouldn't suffer. When they're ready, they'll be sent to someone like me or maybe like you when you make this choice. And you'll say, do you know you got another choice? Do you know you don't have to do this the long, hard, laborious way? If you're willing to take up and own and take full responsibility for what you created, I'm grateful I was angry. I'm grateful I manipulated. I'm grateful I was an asshole. I'm grateful I was mean-spirited. I'm grateful I was selfish. I played ego full out. I touched every possible vibration, and I did it all really, really well. Big deal. I chose to wake up out of that, and love came immediately and said, sure, here, I'll help you. Obviously, it's already said, sure, I'll help you to you, or you wouldn't be in here. So for those of you who are waiting for an experience or waiting for something out there to come, it will not come until you choose it. And ironically, you're going to end up giving the gift to yourself. So where are you waiting rather than choosing? And you may have to choose 1,000 times because you don't believe the power of your choice is powerful. You don't believe with one thought, it's done. I have decreed it and it is so. So you may have to say it 1,000 times. You might actually start working on, I decree the power of my choice back. I take it back from everyone I gave it to and everything I gave it to, and I bring it all up so I can consciously choose where I've been unconsciously choosing from old choices. That is when life begins. This isn't about getting a happier body-mind going, although you're welcome to do that. This is about incarnating the love of Christ right here, right now. No physical death required. Just the psychological and emotional death of the tiny little ego self that we created from our unlimited beingness. Wasn't done to us. If you did it to yourself, you can undo yourself. If you got this into it by hating yourself and fearing yourself and judging yourself, it's time to love and embrace and accept and allow. Wow, try that on.
As of this date on your calendar, there have only been a handful of beings who have truly lived life upon this plane, a very small handful. There are many of us that would just absolutely be thrilled if you would join the club. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Until you do, you don't get to graduate. You will never leave this plane, filled with its conflict and suffering as it seems to be, until you have lived the experience of walking this earth wholly as the thought of love in form, with no other allegiances but to love. And you will never leave this plane. You will never take up your cross and follow me. You will spin around again and again and again, only to be confronted by the same need to decide wholly for love.
This club has infinite room in it, by the way. To be a member of this club, you have to be Christ. You already got that one down. You were already created that way. So boom, your only criteria to be in the club, you've already got. Unless you believe that thought in your mind that says, no, not me. I've still got forgiveness work to do. I'm not worthy of that. I'm not equal to Jeshua. Well, he's saying it would be their joy to welcome the holy child of God that you are back into that club. It won't happen without your choice. And you may choose it in every moment and recognize in the next moment you went back to an old pattern. So choose again, choose again, choose again, choose again. You already have all the criteria. You already have. It's not about being worthy. That's some concept within the ego. You already are what God is. It's one club, and everybody's in it. And if you want to keep someone out of it, then all you're doing is playing the bouncer, and you have to stand outside to keep them from coming in. It's not until you actually welcome everyone in that you get to come in. But the ego says, this whole forgiveness work, I'm suffering so much shit, I might as well just go ahead and kill myself. I can get to heaven through death. All you do, that's the trick of the ego, so that you get to come back and waste 20 years growing up before you even get to be conscious enough to get a plan, to get a pathway like this. So death is the ego's trump card, but it doesn't accomplish anything except waste more time, which we've all wasted enough already. Doesn't matter if you're 60 or if you're 20. The power of choice is the same in each and every one of us, isn't it? Every one of us know we have the capacity to choose. Until you decide to wholly for love. And that means you have to abandon all your stuff around fear. You can't decide wholly to love and keep the rocks in your pocket that the ego that you put in there so you could throw them at everybody else. You got to become defenseless. Take your rocks out of your pockets so that you can't project on people. You can't throw it over there. And decide wholly for love.
And you'll finally look heavenward and say, Father, let's get on with it. Enough time has been wasted. It's gone, it's okay, it doesn't matter. Now, I am committed to love. Bring on whatever I must experience to bring up from the depth the places I've hidden within me, every obstacle that must be dissolved by the light of the grace of perfect love. And I will do whatever I can from my side of the fence to open up those places, to feel those places, to embrace those places, to love those places, to claim those places as wholly self-created. And I will let my parents off the hook, I will let my siblings off the hook, and I will let my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather off the hook, and I will let Adam and Eve off the hook, and I will let the government off the hook, and I will love myself enough to heal my separation from God. And I will be humble enough to recognize that if I'm having an experience, because I know I have made the commitment to healing, then you have indeed, precious Father, brought me all good things. For this moment of experience can be seen through eyes that recognize it is but a stepping stone to the perfect peace I seek.
Wow. You got to love that. I mean, he ain't pulling any damn punches this time. 2,000 years ago, he spoke metaphorically, and he spoke through symbols, and he spoke through parables. I mean, he's just right in your face this time saying, wake up! And it's your deal. It's not God's. It's not anyone else's. Wake up. You're enacting your sleepiness through your judgment, through your self-condemnation, through your small self-ego righteousness. And you can stop that at any time. I tell you, Jeshua sends some folks here. They come in. The light's really bright in here. They leave after a movie or one of these events. And that night or the next day, they get a truckload of their shit delivered right to their consciousness. And they're like, damn, forget this. He said waking up could be easy. I don't want to see any of this stuff. I'm never going back there. Well, it's the answer to your prayer. If you want to awaken, it's time to bring all that dross up so you can own it, embrace it, and then let it go. You can't get into heaven lugging all those rocks with you. Rather be grateful. Oh my gosh, my prayer's answered. Here it is. Here's my choice. I used to blame my parents. I used to blame my body. I used to blame whatever. Here it is. Am I going to embrace it and say this was my choice and I use the power to choose again and say no, I love it and it's okay? Or am I going to continue to condemn it and shove it back down in my consciousness? It can be kind of stinky when it comes up. It's been rotting down there a long time. And some of us have hidden it so well, we just don't want to look at it. But what if it was the last time you ever saw it? And what if you didn't have to look over your shoulder in fear because you knew it lurked there and it might pop up at any moment? You want to know peace? Let it come. Let the shit come. Let it hit the fan and let it do what it's got to do. You're not going to die from it, I promise. You're taking a step into eternal life. So when it comes, come. And who haven't you let off the hook? Right now, I can feel out there some of you just got the answer. So there's spirit saying, oh, let this one off the hook. And the Spirit can't decide for you. The Spirit can just show who you've got on the hook. Will you say, yes, I bless my parents. I'm grateful that they played this game of separation with me, and I let them go. I let them go in peace. I lived in that question. And I don't know about you. You ever seen those butcher shops like the one Rocky was in when he was hitting that cow? They got hooks out the wazoo. First time Jeshua showed this to me, it looked like the fucking Matrix. Hooks out they went into almost infinity. I was like, oh my God. He said, yeah, you played really well. You played really well, but you're going to have to see every one of those and let them go. But it need not take long. You can live in the yes to their release before they even show up. Then you know you're already open. You're not defended against them coming, so they can come, you see them, and let them go. Bless them on their way out. And when are you going to love yourself enough to heal the separation from God? The more people you let off the hook, the deeper the ego will try and set the hook in you. So you don't throw rocks at people out there anymore, but you beat the shit out of yourself. Wow, there's a lot of four-letter words in tonight's dialogue, isn't it? Wow. So it'll turn within. But you have to love that too and say, yes, even this experience is wholly self-created. Do I want to do that anymore? No. I choose to love myself instead. So this first line, you'll look heavenward. That's not heavenward. You'll close your eyes and you'll turn within to the kingdom of heaven, and you'll speak to the Creator in your own mind that you share as one, and you'll make this prayer authentically. And many of you have already made it, whether you're conscious of it or not. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to this. So you have in your hands right now all you need in this pathway to ensure you do not spin around one more time. It's the power of your choice, not some judging God during your life review after you die. You end up reviewing your life and you judge yourself based on how you judged in life. And you say, I didn't get it right. I got to go back until I get love totally, wholly correct. I can't move on till then. So this is the only thing worth doing in this realm. I'm not saying quit your jobs. I did. But you can do whatever you want. But this is the only thing that matters to your beingness, is doing just this right here, healing your separation from God. So welcome the stepping stones. Welcome them with perfect peace already. If you're already at peace, when the shit drops in your lap, you just go, wow, look at that shit. You know, because you're not defended against it already. So just be at peace and let it come and go, okay, yep, I see that. That's mine. I created it. Thanks, Mom, for helping me out with that. Thanks, Cindy, for helping me out with that. I'm so grateful that these other beings loved me so much to help me play it so deeply that I could wake up in this lifetime. That's a great gift they gave you, you know? Accept that. Stop condemning them for it.
My life is no longer mine, for I know not how to correct that one fundamental error, but I can surrender into feeling each moment fully while choosing love anyway. And love will dissolve the pain that I have carried, all because I insisted on trying to separate myself from the source of my being. This little gnat of mine is being put to rest, and the only thing that can shine is Christ. For Christ, the Son of God, the offspring of God, is God's only creation. The rest of it is attributed to you. Even space and time is yours. You, the truth of you, is your Creator's only creation, for you are love, and God creates that which is like unto Himself, and God is only love. Many of you believe you are on a spiritual path. You will know that is true by your willingness to feel and experience wholly exactly what is in front of you, moment to moment. Woo! So if you have enmity with another, if you have conflict with another, and you sit in your chair and decide decide to do what you call pray or meditate in order to change the feeling state within yourself, and you arise later and say, there, I'm feeling much better now, but the issue has not been solved with another, nothing has changed. Go therefore to the other, open your heart, share, resolve. If you have offended another, ask them for their forgiveness. If you have judged another, Admit it. Ask for their forgiveness. It is only in such a way that you can truly heal the place of conflict within.
And many of us don't really get this. We don't want to feel. Especially we don't want to feel the anger, the judgment, the rage, the bitterness, the indifference, the depression, the why bother. We don't want to feel that kind of stuff. So this is what happens. This is our life. We're already conflicted. We're already bound up because we don't want to experience stuff. For a moment we have an openness and the Spirit puts something there. And we go, oh, God, I don't want to see that. Oh, I got to forgive this. And we engage with it and we get in conflict with an old conflict that came into our awareness. Remember, love allows all things, trusts all things. Openness is the allowance. So the Spirit can put it in your hand and you go, oh, look at that. I can forgive that, I can let that go, and I can bless and thank that being for it. And then it'll just be taken away. If you don't contract against it, there's no suffering. And you're doing this either preemptively or when it shows up. Openness, the love that allows, trust, embrace, it's just always open. It doesn't judge the thing that shows up and says no. Love is an always and eternal yes. So you know what? This thing that's been lurking down here, this big, deep, dark thing, shows up. You know what? It's going to go because it showed up. Everything that shows up leaves. How long are you going to hold on to it and keep it around? And we do that. And the ego tells us we have to analyze this. And we have to explore it and we have to understand why this happened. All you have to do is go, because I was playing ego, that's why. That's why it's there. Do I want it anymore? No. And let it go. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. No need for past life regression either. You already have everything carried in your being in this moment that you need to release and let go of. Right here, right now. Whew. And if you believe you're on a spiritual path, drop that belief. Because that means you got to be going somewhere. That means you got to be efforting. If you're not on a path, you're at least willing to accept, maybe I'm already at the destination. My eyes are just closed. But if you're on a path, haven't you put the destination in the indefinable future? How about that? Subtle, but we're like, wow, I'm on a spiritual path. Got the way of mastery. I'm on a path. Wow, I'm really working my path. I go to 4 events a week. Did you see what you're doing? You're like denying this truth and this decision that's available right now. For those of you who were here watching the movie the other night, you're running around collecting more keys instead of using the one key of forgiveness and choice that He's already given us. So it's not about changing the feeling state. Oh, I feel angry. I don't want to feel angry. I want to feel joy. It's going, wow, sure, I feel angry. Big deal. I've judged in the past. I feel angry. I feel resentful. I can correct that right now in peace and let it go. Not by avoiding it. And many people understand this teaching and they go, oh, the ego goes, I know what to do. I'll just ignore it. It's not real anyway. I won't even look at it. And you look away, and that's denial too. You recognize the ego's given it so much reality, it says it's not even worth looking at. So it's denying it by pushing it away. It's only in the full, open, welcoming embrace that healing happens. Try it. Try it. I had a contraction problem. Some of you may have that too. So in my mind, I had a board, when Jeshua gave me this symbol, and it was like that ball. I mean, you squeeze it and, it just kind of gets a life of its own. So I had a board and I taped my fingers down so that I could resist. So there was something in my mind resisting the contracting mechanism that was saying no, 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 no. Because right now, if you look at your life, you live this way. And you meet somebody and you kind of test the water and then you go, okay. Maybe I'll open up just a little bit. I'll see if I can trust them. Okay. Way of mastery? Oh! You studied the way of mastery too? Whereas love shows up open all the time. That's the only thing it knows. So just look where you're doing that, where you're living a life preemptively in fear and contraction. And make the decision to say, nope, I'm going to be open. And what comes will come. It's coming as a blessing because God's cleaning out my consciousness so that I can go into heaven. I can be in the world pure, not lugging my rocks around just in case.
Beloved friends, the essence of this hour's message is quite simple. Where are you now? Are you willing to allow yourself to see everything around you and within you as the doorway to the kingdom of heaven, waiting only for you to acknowledge its presence and to open it? Are you willing to truly be right where you are, wholly right where you are? And the mind says, of course, I'm on a spiritual path. Rest assured, if you look well into your feelings and find any trace of resistance, you have not yet made the necessary commitment that gives you the power to open that door. Feeling is the message of this hour, for it is only through feeling that you truly awaken. Concepts and ideas can begin to direct the mind to believe that there is something out there that is attractive, that might even be better than what you've been doing before. But concepts and ideas do not, in themselves, open the door. They are symbols, and that is all. And a symbol cannot quench your thirst. It is only at the level of genuine feeling that you can once again know the presence of God who dwells within you, around you, and through you, even now.
So many of us don't want to feel. Our whole life is set up as this chess game so that we can feel what we want and avoid the feelings we don't want. And we hate it when someone like checkmates us and all of a sudden screws up our plan. And now we got to feel something we don't want. They're an angel of grace coming to show you where you're in resistance. Can you be open to it? Will you be open to it? Because it's only that openness and that willingness that opens the door, that actually allows healing to take place fully. So there is no getting away from feeling, but he says it in this last line, and it's often overlooked. That's how you also know the presence of God. So your unwillingness to feel the ego stuff you've buried is also blocking your willingness to feel the presence of God's love here and now. Because you just really turned off the feeling tap. So you're also cutting off the source. So if you want to feel God's love, you got to be willing to feel fully. That may mean there are times it's uncomfortable, but they'll go unless you grab them to squeeze all the discomfort out of it that you can. And this is, many Course in Miracles students get stuck at the idea conceptual level and think that's the truth. And they use the ideas and concepts to block feeling anything. They throw metaphysical concepts at everything so I don't have to feel anything. Well, feeling's in the body, and the body's not real, so that's all bullshit. I have said feelings are wordless thoughts because they show us where we're expressing thoughts and judgments we had. It's not that feelings aren't real or are bad. They're the messengers showing us where we have used concept and judgment and word to constrict ourselves in the past. So if you want to feel God's love, it comes with feeling, not just the things I want to feel. So are you really willing to open up to that and feel fully? And I'll give you a tip here. To the degree that you're willing to feel the depth of the ego is proportionate to how much of God's love you can feel. If you only want to feel a little bit of fear, you're only going to get a little bit of love. It's not until you embrace that I have trolled the depths of it and I have felt and experienced rage. That doesn't mean you have to act it out, but I have experienced it all, every ounce of it, so that I am open to all of the feeling of God's love and presence. Otherwise, you're keeping yourself in a really narrow range of feeling, and God's infinite. How much of infinite do you want to experience? That's how open you're willing to be. So you want more of God's love? Be willing to see deeper into your stuff. And we do. I mean, look, you'll find that you look on your feelings not only with a trace of resistance, but with an abundance of it. An abundance of it. So make the necessary commitment. It's like Neo in the Matrix when he said, bring it. Whatever it takes, bring it. If all this is the last little cleanup, the last time I'll ever see this plane, the last time I'll ever experience these energies, bring them. Let me bless them on their way out and say thank you.
Feel what you have created as a substitute for the truth. Own it, look upon it, then let it go. Learn that regardless of what choice you may have made in the past, that once you have embraced it, once you have felt it, you remain perfectly innocent and imbued with the power to choose again, to feel, to learn once again to feel the glorious warmth that permeates the kingdom of heaven. Nothing you do with time can match the importance of what we have shared in this hour. Nothing you do in the field of time holds a candle to the incredible gift that is waiting for you. Therefore, indeed, use time constructively by deciding to love, that love may teach you of itself. And indeed, beloved and holy friends, when you have done this, you will find yourself translated, if you will, into a form that could never possibly be contained by the space and volume of a physical body. And you will look upon this entire dimension as a mere temporary learning device, and you will set it aside as a child sets aside a toy that has been outgrown. But you will do it with deep appreciation and love for the toy that you've played with for so long.
So if you want to feel that glorious warmth, you have to fully own your creation of the cold, miserable, lonely apartness. Rather than feeling sorry for yourself, you actually embrace that, and in the full feeling of it, and Course in Miracles students come all the time. I keep seeing this, I keep seeing this, I keep seeing this. Well, have you felt it? Have you truly embraced it? No, they've gone, oh, I see that, and I forgive it. They've thrown a word at it. They've thrown lots of words at it. They've thrown course lessons. I could see peace instead of this. Well, you will when you embrace it, when you feel it, when you welcome it, rather than trying to push it away like I see it come, I'm going to put a stamp on it and send it to somebody else. You don't claim it as your own. You don't fully embrace it and feel it wholly, whether it's I'm not good enough, or in my case it was abandonment. And you know what? I would even own abandonment for everybody else that was playing it. Because I recognize I'm not just setting myself free from the energy of abandonment from that story. I have the power with my embrace to embrace every other being that's playing abandonment. Feel the warmth of that when love comes to say thank you for your willingness to embrace it in its totality, not in my little story, because you're going to wake up to this gloriousness that the whole thing's your story. It's all of our story in our oneness. So why not go ahead and start reaching out with your willingness to extend your healing and share that with others. You may never say a word to anyone, but if you say, wow, I've seen this energy of abandonment or not good enough, and I have owned it, I've embraced it, and it's gone, I don't see it anymore, I wonder who else out there I might, with my choice, extend that to. Wow. Instead of throwing rocks like you were before, you're extending love. You're extending creation. You're co-creating the good, the holy, and the beautiful. That's fun. That is really, really cool to do. So I won't talk too much about what you'll experience yourself as, but you'll know without a shadow of a doubt that you are not the body. But that won't mean you resist the body. You'll be like, wow, the body's still around. I wonder what use love will make of it. For me, it's sitting right here in front of you. Who knows what it might be for you? But you'll know you're an eternal, infinite being. You can call it mind, you can call it Christ, you can call it the universe, you can call it whatever. But you'll know your absolute and perfect invulnerability. And then you can walk in this world in the peace that nobody else will understand. They'll call you crazy. That's okay. They'll call you insane. That's okay. They'll say you're incompassionate and you don't care. That's okay. Big deal. It's not going to hurt your feelings. You remain perfectly innocent and imbued with the power to choose again. So your power of choice, the ego uses in denial. I don't want to see this. I forgive it. Get it out. It uses it in resistance, and we lost all its power. The power of choice comes first in the embrace, in the ownership. I created this. Is this an energy I want to keep? Yes or no? So precede all choice by the embrace first. That's where you have the power of choice. Otherwise, you're just continuing to let the ego use choice to resist, contract. And you'll learn what love is. You'll learn if you can look upon your deepest, darkest with innocence and gratitude. Are you going to judge anybody else who seems to be having a really dark time? Or striking out at someone or throwing ego rocks? No, you're going to go, wow, you know what? I know that energy. I've seen the depth of that. And I know the truth of the ownership of it and release. So why should I blame them for that? Why should I judge them for that? So in your healing, you're already setting the other ones free. You're one less one that's going to throw a rock at them. You're standing there ready to show them how to embrace and feel fully and heal. And you'll look upon this entire dimension as a temporary learning device. I think he's being generous by calling it a learning device. You will celebrate it as an aspect of our freedom. You will celebrate it so gratefully that we could create like this. Because you know, if we can create like this, well, clearly there are no limits. God must really be serious about this whole free will thing. So, wow, I wonder what might be next. If we have this much power and this much freedom that's never taken away, what could be next? And your mind will open into this infinite possible state. Rather than being contracted around this little form, it'll open to this infinite possibility and you'll live kind of revelation all the time, where the truth continues to be revealed to you because you've welcomed it. You've given up your contraction. You've given up demanding that I stop at the edge of my skin. You've opened up to the love of God and it starts to inform you in ways you'll go, wow, there's not even words to say what I just experienced. I can't even tell someone about that. They're just going to have to wake up for themselves. And you'll set it aside as a toy that has been outgrown. So all of us who are lots and lots of energy in fixing the world, you know what? This whole realm was designed to live in a world that's broken. But we set it up to be broken, so it's really not broken. But all the energy in trying to heal the world is going to cycle you back and back and back until you recognize, well, there's no fixing duality. There's no fixing a broken world. There's no getting Republicans and Democrats to agree. You just wake up out of playing with that toy. And you set it down in gratitude. And you bless those who continue to play. Because you're on about an ever greater expansion of your own experience of love. Whew. Use time constructively by deciding to love, and let that love teach yourself. It's all about remembrance. But if you don't start with the choice for love, love doesn't have a chance to show up and remind you, because you've already said no, thank you. You don't say thank you, you just say no, hell no, and better not come back again.
And you will carry with you a deep sense of gratitude for everything this physical dimension has brought to you. There will not be a molecule, if you will, of beingness within you that will feel any resentment, any longing, any anger, any remorse for anything. And all of your experience will become wholly acceptable to you. For it was by such experience that you were finally driven to want only the truth. So, from this day forward, you will never again be able to truly convince yourself that all of your attempts to stay distracted or conform to the world are really accomplishing a thing. And you will find that your mind begins to penetrate the unconscious habits you have created in an attempt to hide what must yet be felt. And you will know perfectly well when you are simply deluding yourself. And you'll start to smile and go, oh yeah, there I go again. Might as well set that aside. Plant my feet firmly on the ground and indeed live with passion for the truth of the kingdom of heaven.
So not a thread of resentment, longing, anger, or remorse for anything. The world teaches us that we're supposed to carry those, that it's like standard operating procedure, and that we look back on our life with such regret. He's saying that's all bullshit. That's all part of this game of separation. If you want to do it that way, okay. Well, just recognize you're punching your ticket for a return trip. So you'll get another chance. Will this be your last go-round or not? But imagine living in this world with no resentment, no longing, no anger, and no remorse for anything that's ever happened, is happening now, or could happen. We're talking the peace of Christ incarnate right here physically on this earth. And you won't look upon some news story and go, oh my God, that's so bad. We've got to start another movement. You'll smile and bless it and let it go. See, the ego tells us it's unfair to be at peace unless everyone else is. Well, doesn't that sound like a strategy for nobody being peaceful? But we believe that. And we destroy our peace trying to help everybody else be peaceful. Your choice is simply for yourself to be at peace and wake up from this and simply move on. If you're asked to play a role like I've been, you'll play it joyfully, gladly. Big deal. But you just set this toy aside. And when you were a kid and you set a toy aside, wasn't there a bigger one waiting? Didn't you set down your bicycle for a go-kart? And then you set down the go-kart for a car? Only thing that awaits us is ever-expanding beingness, ever more power, ever more creativity, ever more fun, ever more beingness, ever more limitlessness. This is what it's all about. All those places that you want to frown at the world and frown within, every time just go, do I really want to come back and have to look at that again until I choose to smile? What if I chose it right now? And the ego says, you can't smile at that. That's really bad. That's horrible. You can't smile at that. You can't let it go. Try it. Embrace it. Feel it. Welcome it. Own it. Because you'll end up doing it for the whole world. You'll be the one that joins Jeshua and says, I'm responsible for all of creation. I will embrace it all as self-created. I will love it. I will embrace it. And I will let it go in peace. I can feel that one. It feels great. Whew. And Jeshua says the way of mastery, when it shows up in someone's life and he drops the boulder into their consciousness of the way of mastery, one of two things happen. With great joy, the soul rises up and gets about what he's telling, or the soul is pissed off and goes away, but it's too late. It's already been dropped. And the soul will be brought to its knees. The soul will suffer. So either way, he's going to get you with the way of mastery. It's too late. The pebble's already in your consciousness. I would encourage you to be graceful and generous and loving and happy about it, or your distress and your resistance to this truth is only going to take you deeper into your suffering to where you'll finally go, uncle. You'll finally say, oh, Christ, I give up. He's offering you the power of your own choice back, to do it joyfully, to do it easily, to do it quickly. We use our own choice to get us into it. If you want to deny that it's your choice that's doing it, well, you can continue to do so at your own peril. And there were times I wasn't ready, and Yeshua said, okay, that's fine, but you deny it at your own peril, meaning you're creating your reaction. You're going to create your suffering to it. Don't blame anyone else. Don't blame anyone else. Anything else there? And you will find that your mind begins to penetrate your unconscious habits almost of itself, because it recognizes, oh, I put it all there to play effectively, to play separation. I needed it for that. I don't need it now, so let's clean it out. Gone is the resistance. Resistance was part of the game. If the whole thing now is to wake up and get rid of it, the mind will turn and start doing that, welcoming it, if you really want to wake up.
Therefore now, beloved friends, be you therefore at peace. We said that this year, the way of the heart, as you would indeed speak ever more directly and even more forcefully to you. For the time comes quickly when this planet will not be willing to tolerate untidy house guests that are not willing to vibrate at the frequency of being to which the planet herself is preparing to move toward. Therefore, be not caught by coming home one day and discovering that the landlord has changed the locks and you have not a place to rest your head. Rather, be the living embodiment of love and journey with your Holy Mother into an entirely new dimension of being. And never forget to sing, laugh, dance, and play along the way. Be you therefore at peace, beloved and holy friends. Peace, then, be with you. Amen.
So he started this lesson by going into an explanation of holy and beloved friends. And he said, if you get that, you have everything you'll ever need to extend love throughout eternity. As a backup, because he knows how obstinate we are, we get 26 more lessons, 28 more lessons, in case we're not willing to get that. But holy, the holy child of God, friend, one that is the same, one that is a perfect equal. Beloved, the extension of the Creator itself. He has addressed us that way since the beginning of this pathway. He usually takes the first 2 paragraphs to just pour love on us. In one, he said, they explode in joy when we ask for their help. And how many times do you actually consider, I wonder if I should ask for help or not? Well, if you recognize they explode in joy, well, I'd live in the question, I'm asking for help. Why would I want to diminish their joy? Because I don't feel worthy of it. And this is direct, and it is forceful. He's putting responsibility right where it belongs with the offspring of the Creator. He's not saying, God's out there somewhere, and you got to wait to be anointed by some fickle God who seems to pick losers like John Mark but hasn't picked me yet. And by the way, it's a fucked up God that would pick him before me. He doesn't deserve that. I mean, he uses four-letter words like crazy. I'm holy, I'm special, I'm religious. It's because I was willing to exercise the power of choice that he said this was the way home. He said even all the other pathways that are directing people to awakening, they eventually have to come to the recognition, I am the chooser, I am the creator. As long as any pathway that keeps God out there somewhere, that's a slow path. So this is kind of a top-down teaching. There are lots of teachings in the world that are bottom-up, that start with this is real, and there was a fall, and all that kind of stuff. This teaching is speaking right to the truth at the very top. It's a short journey from the top. It's a short journey to heaven from heaven. So I'm grateful for this pathway. This fit this personality very, very well. Some of us who are reluctant to make decisions and don't feel empowered, this can be challenging. But they'll help you. Are you willing to make the choices? Are you willing to do that? And the planet is shifting. I mean, we've seen that like crazy. I mean, governments are falling like crazy. Dictatorships are falling like crazy. You know, everybody's got a Twitter account now, so the media can't really control the world anymore. They can't. So it's happening. Global warming, Jeshua says, don't worry about global warming. It's simply the earth coming back to its more hedonistic state, where it's more temporal all over the world. That's the world's representation of peace, is not such drastic fluctuations. We may go through some drastic fluctuations to get there, just like you're going to go through some drastic fluctuations cleaning your junk out. You know, the earth has taken a lot of junk from humanity. It's cleaning it out too. But all of that, just like perfect peace, is this. It's all moving in that direction. Will there be some wild fluctuations? You bet, already have been. If you're doing this work authentically, you've already seen them within. It shouldn't come to any surprise that it seems to be happening in the world. Because every soul's being pressed to make a choice. Am I going to stay asleep or am I going to choose to awaken? He says collectively as humanity we've chosen to awaken, but that's not a huge majority. There's still those that are dead asleep and invested in trying to keep others asleep. And that's okay. But your biggest contribution is your awakening. It doesn't do you any good to go feed a million hungry mouths. Your one awakening, your choice for your incarnation of Christ, your perfect peace, will do infinitely more than doing all kinds of good works in the world. I think in this lesson before, he said, whatever that means, good and holy works, whatever that means. But this kind of truth, this kind of power of choice, pisses the world off. It pisses the people in your life off because you're coming into power. Wait a minute, we had a codependent, neither one of us are powerful game going. How dare you get power? They'll try and slow you down. So become the living embodiment of love and journey with the Holy Mother. Journey with the earth, because the earth's going to move whether you choose to or not. I don't know if you've noticed, but you don't have a lot of power over that power. So you might as well use the power you have to come into peace. And in this thing, how many times did he say peace? Peace be then with you. Peace, 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 peace. Everybody wants it. He's saying it's yours. You're kind of going to wake up and go, oh my God, there was nothing but peace. And I was abandoning peace in favor of all the other things I created instead. So it's not like be with you like it's going to come from somewhere else. It's the very ground of your being. It's the kingdom within. It's already there. If you're looking out there for peace, it's a long look. Holy and beloved friends, peace then be with you. And amen, of course, means so be it. So be it. And what he's really saying is, so be the power of choice within the holy child of God. It is, it always has been, it always will be, it's up to you. Yeah, so, this kind of does away with all our prayers of supplication and entreaty to God, saying, please, please, when's it going to happen? Please, 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 God, do this. I mean, when you recognize God is you, God's not apart from you. The I am of God and the I am of you are one and the same. The real miraculous thing will be, how could I have deceived myself for so long? Whew. And sing, laugh, dance, and play along the way. He said in 2 lessons before, seriousness is of the ego. So all those thoughts that you might be having of, yeah, but, might be easy for him, but I don't know about this, and what about that in the world? But all of that's the ego. All of that's that part of the saying, don't wake up from this game. How dare you wake up to peace? Sing, laugh, dance, and play along the way. I mentioned when I started tonight, I went out to the hospital wearing my nose today with a friend who had a nose on. It was a beautiful experience. And you're free to do that at any moment. What if you used your choice to do something like that rather than to throw rocks? That's the power of your choice. Nobody else is going to make that choice for you. There's lesson 6. Love alone heals all things. I talked about you can substitute for the word love. You could put in sole responsibility. Not S-O-L-E, that's the ego. S-O-U-L, sole responsibility. My choice, my power, my peace. And when you accept it fully for yourself, you'll recognize, oh my gosh, it's everybody else's too. It's not mine. I'm not special. I don't get to keep it for myself. But next week, we're going to do the channeling of lesson number 7, birthing the mind of Christ. That's where your power is in the mind of Christ, not in the binding body-mind ego that you've been so deeply identified with. We can run around, that thing will run us around like crazy. Any questions or comments tonight? So please leave empowered. This isn't about you've done anything wrong. This isn't about you're a sinner or you're weak. This is about turning within and owning the power that you have always been using to choose and to create. If you don't like what you chose, big deal. Let it go. Recognize I'm an eternal being. I've been creating out the wazoo for all of creation. This was just one more flavor. And go in and exercise that peace. Exercise that choice for peace. And you can only exercise it for yourself. It doesn't do any good to try and get someone else to exercise their choice so that your choice becomes easier. Or they choose peace, then I choose it first. I mean, we do that in special relationships. If you'll do this, then it'll be okay for me to do it. Just abandon that whole thing. So he talks about in another channeling, not in this series, about being divinely selfish. Absolutely, and he means self with a big S. I'm going to incarnate the fullness of my divinity, and I'm going to incarnate my divine self, and in my divine selfishness, I bless every other being, because I accept the truth that is true for me and for them. So be selfish. Don't tolerate loss of peace because you have some commitment with someone else. Demand your own peace, regardless of what's happening. You're worthy of it. It's already been given to you through the power of choice. Use it. Okay, we'll do some announcements here quick. If anyone's interested, if you think you need a guide, you think you need to come sit with me, you can. It can be pretty profound. It really can. Because all I'm going to do is reflect back this truth to you. I'm not interested in your story. I had one too. Big deal. Big deal. If you want to talk about your story, there's 7 billion beings out there. Go. It doesn't take you long. I mean, you guys were talking about your stories before I walked in tonight. I mean, that seems like all we do is talk about our stories. But if you want to talk about the truth, if you want to talk about the power you have and the choice you have to awaken, to accept your divinity, come. I'll reflect it back to you as long as it takes. And it's my joy to do it. Love offering. I can't offer you more love than the love we just reminded you about. The power we just brought back up into your conscious awareness. I'm joyful to extend that love, your love, to you. That's all we do for a living. If you would help us pay the bills for this house, we would really appreciate it. There's a basket on the other side of the fireplace. If you're here in person, if you're watching online, you can go to onewhowakes.org. In the upper right-hand corner is a Give button. You can click that Give button and give a PayPal donation, and it auto-converts international currency. It's easy to extend love. Let's see. I'm grateful that our Father says yes to all our creations. Yes, never judged them, just said yes. And I'm grateful to Jeshua. You get the connection? Jeshua. Jeshua. So I would do that. I mean, he gives this really lengthy thing for love allows, trust, embraces. I just shortened that to Jeshua. I just said yes to everything. So anyway, I'm grateful to Him. He comes when we do this work. He is tending the pebbles that have already fallen within your pond and will assist you. In the first lesson, He said, if you'll invite me, I'll come abide with you in your mind. But your guides, whether it's Jeshua or Mary Magdalene, or whoever it is, their goal is for you. They're protecting your innocence. They're advocates for your innocence and your divine power. They don't give a crap what story you did. Look at the one Mary and Jesus did. They had their own stories. Big deal. So use your guide to wake you up to the truth of who you are. They're not there to judge you. They're there to say, you're the holy child of God, and I want to do everything in the power of love to bring you to that realization so that you can walk in perfect peace. We love you with an absolutely infinite love that you won't understand until you experience. So don't take the lousy word infinite and say, I know what that means. We don't have a friggin' clue. We love you with an absolutely infinite love and a perfect, perfect peace. Blessings and a joyful good night to you.